Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about the natal aspect Mercury conjunct Mars. And I chose this one for today because we have Mercury conjunct Mars in the transits right now, Mercury conjunct Mars in Scorpio. Sometimes I like to do that because I feel like when we are experiencing an aspect in transit, we can really meditate on the essence of that aspect. And anyways, it's like a theme right now. So let's talk about it, but what it means if it's in your natal birth chart. So, this is one signifying we have a very intense communicator and also a very intense mind. Mercury represents the way that you think, the way that you process information, and how you communicate that information to others. So, the thought process and then also the vocalization of that thought process. So, when Mercury is conjunct to Mars, the thinking and the speaking is very instantaneous. There is no thought to most of what they are saying. It is very impulsive. So one of the gifts of dealing with people like with this conjunction, and there's some downsides, but one of the gifts is you're always going to know where you stand with them. Like, they do not leave their anger under the surface unless they have a bunch of Pluto going on or like a Scorpio moon or something. But in most cases, they are going to communicate to you exactly why you are pissing them off or what is wrong with you and what you need to do to change your life for the better. Something that I think is often missed about this aspect is how much, they feel like they are crusaders for the right thing. If they come at you aggressively, it is in some cases because they have a strong desire to help you and they do feel like they have all the answers. So there can be sometimes a little bit of superiority or aggressiveness with this conjunction. They can be the typical know-it-alls, especially if this is happening in a fire sign or something like that. These people definitely can think they have all the answers and they want to give you those answers from a place of helpfulness, actually. And it is common for them to become involved in politics or being a reporter or anything where you're arguing. That's good, right? That's a good part of this. Or you're having to have these very quick reflexes. Now, this also could indicate athletic ability when you have this conjunction, and that might be one of the better uses of these very quick reflexes and the competitiveness that comes with this conjunction. Because when we're in a place where we can actually be competitive, like in competitive sports, that's a really good utilization for this energy. But in day-to-day, conversation and relating with your spouse or your siblings or your parents or your children, sometimes people can feel like you are talking at them rather than talking to them and having a conversation. It's you talking at people, right? And the other Mercury, Mars hard aspects have a similar thing going on. Actually, even the easy aspects sometimes have a similar thing going on. When Mercury, the mind, touches Mars, which is the warrior, we get that warrior spirit in our communications. But sometimes to be on the receiving end of that, people feel very attacked. And then the people with Mars conjunct Mercury can become defensive and say, well, I wasn't attacking you. I'm just telling you like it is. I just tell it like it is. I don't hold back. I'm just blunt, But, there is maybe sometimes a necessity with this aspect to think before you speak and to actually learn, especially if it's in a fire sign, to learn tact, to learn diplomacy, right? Because in a sense, this is a difficult conjunction. Mars burning up Mercury, that is the mind. They actually have a lot of anxiety. And this aspect can show a lack of inner peace because Mars is always keeping them on the lookout for a fight or for someone to battle for or battle against. It's not a calm place to have your Mercury and Mars. It's a difficult conjunction, and it puts a lot of stress and strain on the mind. People with this conjunction can have health problems that are related to anger and the fiery seething energy that they have. It can end up leading to things like headaches or high blood pressure or ulcers or even acne or boils, or think about like fiery people and the ailments that this can bring when we have too much fire. Now, if this is in a water sign, it's still a fiery conjunction, right? Of course, if it's in a fire sign, it's like a double fire emphasis. But in any sign, this can be difficult. And learning some form of meditation, even though you will probably absolutely hate that, might be necessary. Now, some type of like moving meditation, like a kind of like a Tai Chi or something, could maybe be really good, or a yoga that's like hard too, like physically, right? Which yoga can be actually quite hard. That's a really good use of this as well, where we're breathing. Mercury also rules the lungs. So we're breathing and we're working out our physical body. Mars, that can be a really good way to calm down. And it is really necessary to like force yourself to activate like a softer side, because this is a very warlike conjunction. And, for your own inner peace, not for anybody else, like literally just for you, to like listen to peaceful music once in a while, or read your favorite book, or swim in the ocean, or play waves, or like something soothing for you to kind of calm those nerves, but also get you into a place of inner peace. Because I feel like with this conjunction, peace is a very foreign word and essence to them in some cases. Peace could be driving a fast car in the case of this, although that also could be dangerous. They do find peace in dangerous situations, though. So, they're actually very intelligent. They're very smart. Like I said, they're very quick. They might not realize this about themselves if they, feel like they're just more masculine or more of like a sporty or athletic person. They might actually not realize how much they are quick learners and are actually highly intelligent and, understand things at like a lightning response. So it's very good for everything mechanical, like fixing things, or just like understanding, synthesizing. I don't have this conjunction, clearly, can't even talk, information, and like really being a quick processor of information. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's essentially very favorable for that. Now, as far as like being a teacher, they can be too harsh. When they're in the teaching position, they can be too harsh, but there is a gift if we have some more patient signs involved. There can be a gift for teaching because they are very charismatic. They are very captivating. Like when you speak, people listen because you're very loud and bossy, but also because you have charisma and you have passion in your voice and in what you believe in, which in a world that is far too apathetic, like this conjunction is necessary, because you can light the fire under someone's butt to get going when they have lost the will to live, send someone in there with Mars conjunct to Mercury, and they will inspire and uplift and threaten and get them out of bed again. And so that can be a gift as well. You're never boring, and you do not live a boring life with this. You actually probably do too much and do not rest or relax enough. This is the kind of person that can become angry watching sports or road raging, that kind of thing too. So opening up and allowing a softer side and allowing in love and grace and peace and all these qualities can allow the higher side of this conjunction to come out. Yeah, what else do I want to say about this one? It's not a calculated energy. These people don't mean to actually be bossy or aggressive. It's not like a Mercury Pluto or something where there's like this deep down motivation to control others via our words. It's not like that. It's just that we think without speaking with this aspect, and everything is very impulsive. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like these people are actually very pure and even naive in some cases, because what you see is what they get. They don't actually have a manipulative bone in their body. They're just very rash and direct to a fault. So you can love them or hate them, but they're being real, which is a quality that most do not have. So that authenticity is one of the gifts of this conjunction. There can be a lack of self-awareness. Like, I don't think this video will necessarily be received well by all of them. They're not always open to outside insight unless we have this occurring in like a water sign or something. They're not always very open to input about themselves. And that can be something to work on, right? Yeah. So definitely never boring people. Very, very fast life when you have Mercury conjunct to Mars. Women with this conjunction can be kind of on the more masculine side. They like to be right up in the action. And kind of like a career, like CEO type woman. And also the type of man that they are attracted to, or woman that they're attracted to, could be very aggressive or argumentative as well. And actually, that's a really good point to make with this also, is that because you're like this, you tend to be attracted to, and this is actually for men and women, you're attracted to people with Mars energy. So that doesn't really make for a really comfy, cozy relationship. It makes for a very intense power struggle at times, because you're attracted to people who are similarly like this. So there can be a lot of tension and fighting in the domestic life. And this is something that will have to be worked on. And it's almost like the antidote to this is like more Libra energy, more diplomacy, more tact, more putting yourself in the other person's shoes. And like that's something that's needing to happen more often with this conjunction at a really close orb. And then once you do that, yeah, you can really actualize this like into the higher side, like, and be this fiery, authentic blaze of passion and inspiration. One last thing I'll mention, there can be tension with siblings. There can be even not like more than tension, there can be just like straight up like battles with siblings, like fist fights and stuff like that. That's going to be in extreme cases. Um, but yeah, usually these people are more hot headed. Like they're not prone to physical fights, actually. It's more verbal assault with this. But the good thing about this is that they can often actually apologize for their outbursts because, like I said, they are very authentic and like they're very impulsive. It's not calculated with them. Like if they do something, and they often do, and they feel bad about it, they will apologize and try to be better. So there is, like I said, there is actually a real purity about them, even though it is essentially so difficult to get along with people when you have this aspect. Like, but they are pure. It's just hard to deal with a Mercury Mars conjunction because the nervous system is in fight or flight. And that's why I said, like, prioritizing soothing energies is going to make all the difference with this. So, yeah. My dad has this conjunction. I'm very, very close with my dad. It's in Pisces though, but it's also opposing Pluto, and yeah, there's some other aspects, but he's definitely a very intense communicator that borders on attacking at times, and it's yeah, and he's also an Aries sun, and yeah, so it's been interesting to grow up studying someone with this energy, um, and yeah, so I don't know if all of this necessarily applies to him, but definitely a lot of this was from observing him in my life. So I'd love to know your thoughts about this conjunction. If you have it in your natal chart, I hope that I wasn't too harsh on you. And I'm sending you all the love. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your requests, you guys. Keep them coming, and we'll talk soon. Bye.